Bennett in Newburgh, New York.
Yeah, hi, Randy. I think you're cute and bubbly, too, but, my dear, I love you. You'd make a wonderful third wife, but what kind of concocted explanation was that you gave to justify the Democrats who voted to reprimand Move On?
They did. All right, first of all, they didn't vote to reprimand Move On. They voted a sense of the Senate, which is a non-binding... It's like... I don't know, you could declare, my block, you can declare it Randi Rhodes Day, and it has absolutely no effect at all in law or meaning. But all they voted was not to call bad names to not to denigrate the name of General Petraeus or the troops. That's it. It didn't even mention Move On.
I'm talking about Move On just with the concurrence of the time factor, but Randy, you think that's okay for the Senate?
It doesn't. Listen, if it would have been better if the Democrats would have said, no, actually it wouldn't have been better, because think about it this way. If the Democrats who didn't vote with the Republicans on this non-binding BS piece of nothing, if they would have voted nowhere for denigrating the U.S. Armed Services, that would have been a field day for them. This was a no-win, stupid sense of the Senate. It was just... So they all said, most of them just said, you know what, fine, let's dispose of it. We're not for calling them names. What's wrong with that?
Well, I'll tell you what's wrong with it, because it sets a precedent as far as I know.
What precedent? It's a sense of the Senate. It doesn't set anything.
Well, no, but but the press is still giving it opinion.
Can I ask you, did you read...
Where do they come off doing that?
Did you read what it said?
Yes.
And where did it mention Move On or free speech?
Well, it doesn't mention Move On specifically.
Okay, but so you have to realize who you're dealing with. You really want the Republicans reading this sense of the Senate that says, we agree that we shouldn't call General Petraeus, we shouldn't denigrate General Petraeus or our armed services.
Why shouldn't we be allowed? It's a free press. We can denigrate him if we want.
They're not talking about the press. They're talking about senators. He says that the press was not mentioned in it. And if you think it would have been good for the Democrats to say, we as senators want to be able to denigrate the U.S. Armed Services, you're in dreamland. And they would have stood up and read those words and said, and every Democrat voted that they could trash the U.S. military. And so they did the smart thing. They just said, screw you, fine. We don't want to call the armed services names. Nobody does. You're right. Nobody does in the Senate.
Randy, I'm not going to monopolize one question.
I'm sick of it. This is a non-issue. It's a freaking non-issue. And that this is what's making people upset is bizarre. I just read you an article about private freaking homicidal maniacs running around in Iraq. And we're over there with our troops trying to win the hearts and minds of the Iraqi people. And you've got mercenaries over there gunning down women and children with our troops stuck in the middle of their actions and freaking outraged, sickened Iraqis who have no recourse, no justice, no place to go. And you want to talk about this stupid sense of the Senate. You don't even understand that a sense of the Senate means nothing. And then it had nothing to do with the free press. What did have to do with free speech was Dan Rather's story, which didn't seem to get under your skin. That our journalists are being intimidated, their careers are being ruined if they report the simplest of truths, that George Bush did not finish his National Guard duty, and that he got into the National Guard as a favor to his very privileged senator father. For that, a man's 30-year career could be ruined, and you think that something has happened to the free press because of a sense of the Senate. No, something happened to the free press that's for real, and that's the intimidation of the free press, a la Dan Rather. How many journalists have been killed in Iraq? And gee, I wonder why more journalists have been killed in Iraq than in the whole 20, 30 years of the Vietnam experiment. More journalists have been killed in Iraq than in all of Vietnam in all those years. And for some reason you think that the stupid sense of the Senate has taken away free you. I said the F word. I am just livid. This is what you're arguing with me about. This doesn't mean anything. Nothing. But all the other things do. The Patriot Act does. The FISA law does. The Military Commissions Act, where the president can declare you an enemy combatant and you disappear. These things mean something. Stupid, stupid Republicans. They literally played this ridiculous stunt, and you are falling for it. And it's just irritating me because you know what it tells Democrats? They are not free to vote their conscience because you won't understand the most basic rules of politics. You don't understand what a sense of the Senate is. You don't understand what a non-binding resolution is. You don't understand what a censure is. You don't understand what a filibuster really is. You don't understand that they introduced 3 pieces of legislation this week alone, which is what you wanted them to do. And no one's paying attention to the fact that all 3 of those withdrawal bills were filibustered one after the other this week. Nobody's calling me up to say, let's congratulate our Democrats. They did this right. We asked them to keep introducing a bill. They kept introducing it. They did it 3 times this week. 3 times it was filibustered. Right on, Harry Reid. Good for you, Leahy. Good for you, Webb. Good for you, Hagel. Well, nobody wants to give credit to anybody for doing the right thing. You just want to, obsess over a stupid Republican tactic that freaking worked. And I'm on the verge of tears. I'm sitting here knowing that the troops, they're serving alongside freaking mercenaries that are gunning down innocent people. You're leaving them there to rot. Webb can't get his damn amendment voted on. 3 times they tried to do funded withdrawals this week, which is what you said you wanted from them. They freaking heard you. They did it 3 times. No one's praising them for doing the right thing. You know, when Kerry screwed up with the taser incident, I was the first one. And believe me, I took a lot of hits for that. To say Kerry was not an honorable man that day, that he stood there and did nothing while this kid got tasered. This has nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. When something is wrong and somebody does not exhibit leadership and they're in a leadership position and they just stand there while a kid is tasered and then turn around and lie about it, I'll be the first one to say, I don't care if he's a Democrat or Republican. I couldn't give 2 craps what his party affiliation is. I saw a man act like a coward while a 21-year-old kid, an honor student, was tasered. And Kerry lied about it and said, oh, they did it in the back room. I didn't see it. Bull crap. You were standing right there. They did it in the same room you were in. You were 5 rows away from this kid. You people, you absolutely fall for the Republican trick every single freaking time. Are you stupid? Or are you just a whiner? If you have nothing good to say about what the Democrats did this week, if you have nothing good to say about what Chuck Hagel did this week, if you have nothing good to say about Jim Webb knocking himself out, you just shut up and stand down. Don't you call me, because you're going to get royal holy hell from me. I am so sick of this freaking stupid move on thing. Are you dumb or are you blind? 45 after.
The Randi Rhodes Show. Still your best defense against Orwellian neocon man pigs.
Human-animal hybrids.
This is Air America Radio.